Hey guys, so it's me, Nicolette Explores, and today I'm bringing you some exciting news that I have just found out, right? So I'm going to be a panel moderator on at the the Private Property Summit that is happening this week, right? And the theme of the panel discussion is going to be access to real estate, which basically is how do we make property as an investment or property as an asset accessible to more South Africans? Because as you know, property is one of the most probably the biggest purchases that you're ever going to make. And often, there's a barrier of entry into people starting to buy their own properties. Sometimes you find that people really earn good salaries, but they can't even access a loan to be able to buy a property, basically because they are probably overcommitted. So sometimes people come to me and they say to me, I've got a good credit score. Why am I being rejected or declined when I apply for a home loan? And that's because of what the National Credit Act or the National Credit Regulator speaks about when it comes to your income to debt ratio and your income to whatever, there's another net income to something ratio, right? The ratio is basically that they use as their risk assessment criteria when it comes to whether or not they're going to give you a home loan or not. So one of the panelists that is on my panel for the Private Property Summit is a lady by the name of Nondumiso Ngapai. I might be pronouncing her name very incorrectly, and I do apologize if she ever does get to watch this video, or if you are a family member of her and you're just like, Nicolette, stop butchering our surname. I do apologize. She is at Absa, and she is the head of product in the home loans section or unit or department, right? And she's coming to talk to us a little bit about one of Absa's most amazing products ever, and it is called the rent to buy home loan, right? And basically it is Absa using future rental income to be able to determine your affordability. What do I actually mean? So let's take it a couple of steps back. Remember that none of my videos constitute as financial advice. If you're looking for financial advice, please speak to somebody who's certified and registered with the FSCA. So basically what the product says, or what this facility is at Absa, it says if you, let's say for instance, earn 20,000 Rand, right? You earn 20,000 Rand, you already have, before I get into it, there is a condition for you to be able to access this facility. And that condition is that you've got to have 2 properties under your name already, right? So you've got to have either the home that you live in and another property, right? So that does kind of take away a couple of people. But if you are trying to become a property investor, and remember, property is a scale business, the more properties you've got, the more money you'll actually start to see, and the more profit you'll start to see, especially if you are buying to let, right? So anyway, the facility that Absa has says that, let's say for instance, you earn 20,000 Rand, right? You earn 20,000 Rand, you're already paying a bond, and perhaps maybe you've got other debts that you've got. So essentially, you're looking to add another apartment to your property investing portfolio, but you are coming short at the bank because the bank is looking at you and saying, you're a little overcommitted already with the debts that you already kind of have. So what this facility then says is go back and do a little bit of research in terms of the property that you want to buy, wherever it is, and do what is called an assessment of what is the average rental that can be charged either in that complex or in that location. So obviously a bit of stats will be looked at, and a bit of data will then be looked at. Once that has been determined, you can go to the bank, and over and above your actual income, they will factor in the future rental income, despite the fact that you might not have a tenant in place yet. What? That is fantastic, guys. That is absolutely fantastic, because generally a lot of the banks don't even look at your existing leases. Some of them don't even look at the existing lease, if you do have a lease, to factor that into your affordability as to whether or not you can unlock a certain amount of money. So let's say maybe you need 650,000 Rand to buy your next property, but you are coming short because of your current income and your other financial commitments that you've got, your debt commitments. So what they're saying is, if let's say the average rent is 8,000 Rand, they will take that, a portion or the full amount, I don't know how that works, and they will add it on to your income, and that will now look like you actually earn 28,000 Rand, and that potentially opens you up to a whole lot more options in terms of what you can and cannot buy. That I think is fantastic. And the facility then comes with the supporting, because sometimes especially when you're doing rental. I mean, for instance, I had a property that I registered in around about March, April, and it only got tenanted in August, September. So a lot of people, because we also have full-time jobs, you know, we struggle to get a company that is good. We struggle to manage and get a tenant. Also because we don't have the resources. You don't have TPN. You don't know how to vet this person. You end up just becoming desperate and just tenanting your house to anybody who's willing to pay the rent. Sometimes you even have to lower the rent because you are struggling to find a good and reliable and sustainable tenant, right? So what they've done is, instead of just giving you this buy-to-let home loan facility, they're giving you support. So they've partnered with a real estate agency, and they've partnered with the guys that offer TPN. And basically, they give those people to you at a discounted rate. So for instance, with the real estate agency, you actually get a placement of a tenant at 50% of 1 month's rent, which generally they charge you a whole month's rent, right? So they're giving it to you at 50%. That is absolutely amazing, because what they're essentially giving you is additional things that actually build up this business of buy to let. And then over and above that, they also add their own financial planning services that they add to it. I mean, this is not an ad for Absa, guys. I just thought that this is really cool for anybody who's already within the property space and they're trying to, you know, grow their property portfolio. If you do have those properties. Now, I want to tell people, guys, there are various ways in which you can get access to the property and real estate market. You've just got to look for the right spaces. Flisp is one. I mean, if you start off with Flisp, you buy yourself your first house, and then the second one will be a little more easier because you can use it as equity when you are getting the second one. And then now the third one becomes even more easier because you can just go to a bank like Absa that's offering you this buy-to-let, and Bob's your uncle. Oh, I like that. I like that facility, Absa. Mwah.